Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our Tiny Talks Inspector Chat, which is always a good time and very informative. First, I need to let y'all know that we are recording this so we can put this in our video library for others to watch that didn't get to join us tonight. Also, try to keep yourself muted so no background noise. And then also, if you have a question, you can put it in the chat, which is down below. You'll see a word that says chat with a little chat bubble. You can click right there and put your question, or you can raise your hand, which is down further down. You'll see reactions. You can click raise hand, and then you can ask the question yourself, or I'm happy to ask it for you if you put it in the chat. Oh, we already have a hand up, Paul.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Two of my partners are trying to get online and they have an invalid ID or something. Can you resend the link to join? Because they're texting me and they can't get on. I tried earlier multiple times and I saw a fresh email that had a fresh link in it and I was able to get on. But can you resend the links out to everybody? I think your audience might be struggling to get on.
Jordan, can you resend, please?
Yeah, I'll send it again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay,
Thank you.
Paul. Thanks so much. Alrighty. Well,
Well, I think a good place to start is what Sherry
Right.
pointed out. We're having some changes in April. And those changes are going to be available hours. We've had, I think since NOAA's inception pretty much, our hours have been Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. And we are cutting it back a bit to Monday through Friday. We're going 9 to 6 p.m. Eastern, and then
Monday through Thursday.
Thursday, yes, and then Friday and Saturday will still remain 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern.
and
I'll let you there.
and we're changing from the 24-hour in advance to 12 hours in advance, which I think that will be really a good change.
And I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but we are now able to book multiple inspections for each time slot that I have inspectors for. So if I have 4 inspectors on for that day, I can do four multiple time slots. So there'll be plenty of time slots available. So you're not going to be forced to delay your build or anything like that, as one might think with us cutting the hours back. So just as an FYI, you still will have multiple time slots to choose from. Because we do, on a normal basis, we do Monday through Thursday have 3 inspectors on, and Fridays and Saturdays we do have also 3 inspectors on. So that makes a big difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh. So let's get started. Who's got questions for our inspectors? I know y'all got some.
Somebody's got something out there.
If not,
this
we're
will be the first
our own subject on.
I have one.
This will be a first.
I'll jump in.
Sure.
Hi, Christina.
Hi. It's a very specific question, I guess, but our trailer is built on I mean, our tiny house is we got a shell from someone, and it's built, the 2x4s, the base, you know what I mean.
So on the trailer,
Yeah,
you have a 2x4 on the flat or on the upright?
On the
like
flat.
this, on the flat, so like this.
On the flat. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I'm forgetting what that's called. Base
Sill
plate,
plate.
no?
Sill
Sill
plate.
plate, yes.
Yes.
And it's like basically perfectly lined up with the steel. And so to do our vent piping for our plumbing, it's tricky. And I don't know if we're allowed to cut through the C channel part of like the top for a 1.5 inch pipe, or if we have to figure out kind of how to go like basically go straight up out of the floor and into the wall and avoid cutting through the C channel. It's a tricky situation, or I'm open to suggestions or ideas, but
Okay, so yeah, you definitely don't want to cut away at the chassis at all. If you have to come up with, you know, a 45 or, you know, 45 and a 22-degree bend or something like that, do so. You can actually even come up in the base of a cabinet, and then because your vent can go off of, depending on what you're doing, but your vent can be from any fixture. So it can, you know, sneak back in the wall at some point and then go from there. Does that help you out, or?
I think so. So all of our problem is all of our exterior walls have this issue. And so, yeah, so it sounds like we need, the best is to find a way to sneak in straight through the wall, right? And then go up from there for a vent pipe.
Yeah, and that happens quite a bit. What you'll do is, like, so when you have a cabinet, typically you'll have like a 3 or 4 inch space underneath that cabinet. It's just a dead space. So you can sneak, you know, pop up through the floor, run a 90 over to the back, you know, over to the wall, and then straight up the wall. And then you'll be able to pick up your vent off of there.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, who's our next victim? Somebody's got to have something.
Paul has his hand up, or was that from before?
Nope, it's my hand is up. Can you hear me?
Okay,
Sure.
yes,
Okay.
sir.
So before we joined NOAA, we were working on some SIP panels that the typical SIP, the structural insulated panel, the manufacturers of those, they can make panels up to like 8 by 24 feet. And you have to have cranes to pick them up. But we're working with 4x8s, and we're using a lot of the existing technology for that. But we're trying, so getting it certified is getting tricky. And we joined you guys a couple months ago. This is the first time we've actually interacted with you. But do you guys work with SIPs for certification?
So SIP panels, yeah, we see a good handful of them a year. We have one builder that uses them exclusively. They're not a problem. The only thing that you really want to pay attention to or coordinate with your manufacturer and designer is your window and door openings, and anything else that you're really going to route out, like a plumbing line, because they take up, you know, so much space. So you definitely have to coordinate with your supplier, designer, and have them, you know, do that rough layout for you, so there's no structural, you know, deficiencies when you go to complete the job.
Okay, am I still online here? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yep.
Okay. So we've worked with like headers and everything else, and the panels are we're actually making them ourselves, and we can make them any way we want, and we're comfortable with the structure, but I'm concerned that it's not traditional, and we believe we could park a car on the second floor. I mean, it's that strong. And the headers over the doorways and the windows are very, very, very structural. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Paul.
Okay, so it's just it's what we're doing is not a normal. I mean, if we went to an inspector, it would be like they wouldn't recognize what we're doing because it's not traditional. And that's our biggest concern. That's why we're in contact with you guys to figure out. We want to continue down this road because it's a labor saving system, and it's going in the long run, it's going to cost less to build if we do it this way, but we got to get it. I think the things that we're concerned about are the fire rating and the structural. It's not that we're actually concerned about it, it's just that we know we can't ignore the certifications in those areas. And we want to work with somebody over at NOAA to work the systems out so that it gets certified.
So so Paul, you're making your own SIP panel, is what
Correct.
I'm gathering. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, this is definitely a more in-depth conversation than this Tiny Talks. We can definitely get a phone conversation going. Maybe myself or one of the others, Frank or Tony, or go from there. But it's definitely something we need to get into a little bit more on that
Okay.
end. Yeah,
Okay.
appreciate it.
I'd
So
like
yeah,
that. I'd like-
yeah, reach out to Leanne and see if we can't set up, a day and time where we can get on the phone and have a 3 or 4 way conversation and
Okay.
try and see what we got.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And
Susan?
Yeah,
That's you, right, Susan?
yeah, it's me. Okay, I have a question for you. So I understand basically how NOAA works, and you have to be able to see the construction in process. But we are, so I admin several tiny house groups on Facebook, some huge ones where houses are sold. We are being absolutely flooded with these collapsible, foldable, quote unquote, tiny homes, most of which are being imported from China. My question to you is, are you seeing any of these foldable, collapsible houses being built in the US? And is it even possible for them to qualify for a NOAA certification because of the nature of the structure?
so there's no US company that we work with or that I'm aware of that is NOAA certified on that end. We have made attempts to work with companies outside of the US and haven't had much success for various reasons, not specifically related to foldable or collapsible. It's just a slew of reasons. And so no, there's nobody that I'm aware of at this point, especially definitely not with NOAA.
Thank you. I just adding, because some of them are claiming that they are being built to US standards, but it's really unclear whether that is true.
Yeah, I would ask for proof if that's the case.
Any of our international builders do have to go through a little more strengthier process because they have to have a US engineer to sign off on their plans, and they have to use US based products or UL listed products. So that would be something that you could ask for if they're claiming US approved.
Yeah, there's certain guidelines that they have to abide by. And, it's like Sherry or even what Richard said itself, just make sure that you have it in writing or some type of proof and concerning with it.
Marcus? you guys have your hand up? I'm glad you made it on.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks. I appreciate it. We're doing, my dad's been a contractor for 50 years. I'm Marcus. This is my dad. He goes by Boyd. And we're trying to do our first post-build certification. He began it before we were aware of NOAA. Of course, he built it to, guidelines or standard housing guidelines. We did make sure to take pictures along the way of not only the trailer frame, the steel, the wrapping, as well as the stud construction. So we just kind of don't know where to start. I mean, we paid for the certification a little while ago. I've been kind of handling other business. We wanted to try to narrow it down and make sure we can get all the pictures we have submitted so we can just go through the appropriate process for the post-bill cert.
Yeah, I'm gonna just jot down your name. I knew when you called who you were and that you had already paid for it. I think it was last year, actually. So I'll just get in touch with you tomorrow and I'll look at your account and see what you need to do to, did you say you have sent in the pictures?
I believe we sent them in, but we hadn't got any word back. We had the
Okay.
manual that was sent, so I know it may be, a couple of discrepancies that we don't mind narrowing
Okay.
down, making sure everything else.
Also with that, I used the hurricane straps at the top of the wall, just like we would do. I just built a car just like we just built any house today here. But this is something that they just came up with not too long ago about using the hardware also at the bottom, coming off the bottom plate on each stud. That's something kind of new. And that we didn't do because I didn't know.
Yeah, no worries there. So for a post build, it would be great to have it, but it's not necessary. The only time we require it on the bottom sill plate there from a stud is only on king studs. So only, next to a window or door opening on the king stud itself, just so there's a continuous load path in there. But like I said, on an as-built, it's not something that we would be looking for. So you're definitely safe on that side of it.
Okay.
Another question. I've designed several for the future. I did my drawings and and I had a lot of experience a few years back with the SIP panels, doing rooms here in California. They just basically porch. We call them enclosed porches, and but what I was wondering, I don't like the idea of building a mini home on using SIP panels on the sides, but I was wondering about just using it for just the roof panels, doing the standard framing, standard everything, and then the actual roof panels using SIP SIP panels just for the roof only. Is that makes sense?
Yeah, no, it makes absolute sense. And yeah, it can be done because when you're using SIPs, you could, walls, roof, or either or. So like you're just discussing. So yeah, it's definitely possible.
Okay, I'm just concerned about mixing on that.
Okay.
Thank
And then just to kind of give you a little heads up, more or less. So, a little bit different from an as-built to a traditional build, where on a traditional build, we ask for plans ahead of time before we start building anything. So this way, any discrepancies or items like you're saying, where you have a little customization going on, we can, get eyes on it on a set of plans. And then, if we have to work through anything. If not, then, we send it back approved and we're all on our way.
Gotcha. And also, I was only suggesting using the SIP panels where there's a shed roof, not for the gable.
Yes, definitely a shed roof, not a gable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, good point.
Awesome. Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hello, good to see everybody tonight. I just had a question regarding stairs. There's a couple different designs that we were looking at with either spiral stairs or winder stairs going all the way up to a loft. And I just wanted to see what kind of guidelines we need to keep in mind as far as that goes.
Tony, you're the stair guy.
Matter of fact, I was just reading on that, on the in reference to this on stairs. Susan, give me a spiral stairs shall be permitted provided the minimum width shall be 26 inches, with each tread having a 7.5 inch, a minimum tread at 12. From the narrow edge, all treads will initially rise shall be installed in accordance with the manufacturer instructions, on them. I guess more or less, what the manufacturer is, what they're saying is, what the manufacturer is going, what they're going with in reference to this. Is there any particular place where you want to put it?
Well, no, and more what I was thinking about was actually not specifically an actual like prefabbed like metal staircase, but more like a framed spiral staircase, more or less like a built-in place type staircase. Something where you have storage underneath the stairs, that kind of type. Just going up to the loft area there.
I've seen them, and usually, as long as it's not a, how do I say, as long as it's not as a turtle type of a spiral, which I've seen it where they're kind of slightly turned going up. It's basically this, I would probably say this basically the same ruling on the regular staircase, with them. And like I said, unless it's something that you're doing a complete, more or less of a swirl. But if you're going only partial, I guess, it's like going up, turning a little, and turning a little bit more. I would probably say you would be okay with it or standard if you go by that.
So yeah, Jason, you can use a winder or a spiral. Actually, if you can send your email or contact to Leanne, or Leanne, or if you know it, we can definitely reach back out to you on this, as unfortunately, I don't have my book in front of me or near me at all. So I can give you a realistic answer then, as far as.
Yeah,
no,
Tony, do you have an answer?
I don't have it.
yeah,
off
what
the
I was
top of my
going to
head.
say was the easiest thing, Jason, is if we get your email address, I'll send you a copy of the code itself, because the code covers, it breaks down the spiral, and then it also breaks down staggered and standard, of course, so you can get a better idea. I mean, we can tell you what it is, but it's sometimes it's a little bit better if you can sit there and look at it. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, I'd absolutely. That's, I think, what I was more looking for, is if I could have something like actually in writing where we could go off of and just see if kind of what we had in mind was, doable in the space that we had to work with. So that would be perfect.
Yeah, we can send you a copy of the code for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
awesome.
it'll cover different ones for you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I have it right here.
Mhm.
No,
Awesome.
perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely get that to Leanne then. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds good. I added you to my notes, so I'll get that off to you tomorrow. Then I can add that to my stairs document too.
Well, you sent me one already, so we'll add to it. Thanks, Leanne.
All right. Thanks, Jason. And Paul.
Okay, so Jason brought up staircases. Is the traditional staircase for a house is like a 36-inch wide 7-Eleven with a 3-foot by 3-foot landing at the top and the bottom. Is that the same criteria for a tiny house, or does it have different criteria?
There, go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry about that. I was
There is different
I was
criteria.
being distracted over here.
On a ladder or a straight set of stairs, it's just a maintain a minimum of a 20-inch width.
20 inches wide, okay?
Yeah. Yep.
And are ladders acceptable in a for the loft in a tiny house?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that we've been working with is, you know, these rock walls that people climb up, and you know there's a little cavity for your foot and a handle to go up. So we're using
Yep.
something like that in ours, and it just to minimize the space that takes up to get to the second floor. Is that acceptable?
A good question. Huh?
That's a first. I would be interested to hear more.
It's not in the book.
Right, no, I know, but I would be interested to hear more.
I've climbed rock walls before, and I'd hate to have to do that in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you and me
but,
both. I mean, worst case scenario is, you know, you install the rock wall for your purposes, and then you know, have a ladder for our purpose, and you
Right.
know,
That's
what
I
you
was
do with
thinking.
it on your own is really up to you.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so
I think that would-
on the we basically designed it around the same settings as a ladder with the same, a ladder's got 11-inch rises on it. And so we just alternated the feet going in. And so the foot cavities are alternated every 11 inches and they're staggered. They're about 12 inches apart. And then the handles, they go all the way up to the top of the second floor, but they start around 5 feet on the first floor. So a kid could go up and down. But it's basically, instead of recessing a ladder into the wall, which we've done before, and we just put it between the studs, but there's no insulation there then. And so this rock wall kind of thing works a little bit better because you can get more insulation in the same cavity. Because if the ladder is proud of the wall, then there's other reasons that we want to eliminate that. We want it basically recessed so it's almost flush with the wall. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you know, the thing is though, you know, all the codes for whether we use a ladder or we use a winding staircase or we use a standard, normally all of them will dictate a certain amount of foot space that is required for the step itself. And with the rock wall, you only have toe space really. I would think that Richard's idea is probably the best. Build your rock wall, but for us, have a ladder there for us to inspect. And after we're done, you know, you do what you want, I guess.
Right. Yeah. And if you ever want to resell it, at least you would have the ladder at that point.
Yeah.
You know, nobody ever plans to resell, but we never know where life takes us either.
Right.
Well, we've done multiple ones in the past where we actually we integrate the ladder in between the studs. So it's actually the studs, we dado them and we put the ladder steps between them, and they have a cavity on the backside so you can put your hand and grip them and move and go up. And it's worked very, very well. The only reason that I'm going to the rock wall is because it's got more insulation in there. Maybe there's a denser insulation I can put on the backside of that, and then it would be a little bit proud. But we're using a poly iso for our insulation in the walls. So, but if the ladder's not really a big deal, we can do that. So, but we've been exploring the rock wall as an option.
Appreciate it.
And would this be going, Paul, would this be going up to like a sleeping loft or just a storage loft?
Well, that's It's a full-on sleeping loft, yes. And so I'm concerned about that also, that it's might not meet code.
Yeah, so the other thing is, if you're building this for resale and didn't have a specific client in mind, it would narrow down your clients for it because of, once they get middle age or up, they're not going to want to go up a rock wall. I can
Yeah,
tell
I
you.
know.
Yeah.
I'm there. I
Yeah.
we have the option to go either way, but I was asking about the rock wall because I've never heard anybody else doing it. It's kind of a unique thing that we did because of the insulation factor. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, we can put a ladder in the same exact space if we needed to.
yeah, and I've never seen one in the tiny house yet, but that doesn't mean they ain't coming along. But
Mhm.
I would think Richard's got the best idea though, is do it, but have a ladder there for us when we do our inspection. And then
Okay.
if you remove it, then you could remove it.
All right, that'll be the plan. Thank you.
I think it would also benefit you too, because you'd if you had somebody that was looking to buy the house, but they didn't want to go up a rock wall, well, you got a ladder there too, that they
Yeah.
can use.
Well, it's very easily interchangeable. It's not a big deal. So, okay, I wanted to find out if there was some restriction there. So, the width of the ladder has to be 20 inches. Is that you said 20 inches earlier? Was that about a stair tread or the ladder?
Both. So a regular stair tread is 20 inches wide minimum, and the ladder is as well.
Okay.
All right, well, we got more questions? I know we got some members out there that want to ask a question.
Yeah, I see Joe has
Oh,
comment in the chat. What is the book you're referring to? Is it possible to get a copy? So the book that we're referring to is ANSI 119.5. And that is, I believe it's the 2020 version.
Yeah.
2020,
Yes.
2021, 20, yeah, 2020 version. So yeah, if you want to Google, speaking of Google, if you want to Google yourself a copy, yeah, you can gladly pick it up and you'll be able to see what we're referring to then.
I need one of those. All right. Oh, Marcus.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks. My question was, okay, on this post-bill certification, we made sure that we had like a licensed electrician do all of the work and have them sign off on it on the first one. So like going through the inspection process moving forward, is that necessary because you all inspect the electrical, or should we still have a licensed electrician handle that as well?
We don't specifically have any requirement for licensed trades. So that's on you. That's your call, how you want to handle that. But we definitely recommend somebody with, some experience in it, because the last thing we want to be doing is going through an inspection and having to, tear out, relocate wires and everything else to boot with it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure.
Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Hello. Yeah, I had a quick question about I guess the electrical code. What book are you guys using as far as like year of electrical codes?
I think we're on 20, aren't we, Rich?
It would be 20 NEC, 2020 NEC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
If it's under, are you talking about
20 or
under
2023?
Yeah,
No.
are you talking about the NOAA Plus? The ANSI?
Either or, I guess.
Well, there's a difference so the ANSI with the NOAA Plus refers you to use section 552, which from 2018 to now, that they've not changed that at all. So any version that you get, it's going to be the same. So it's section 552. It will tell
552,
you
okay.
pretty much everything you're going to need for it.
And just curiosity, because we're in the process of submitting our documents as far as drawings and everything. Can we proceed on like installation in the trailer, or does that have to first be inspected before we do any work on the trailer?
I'm not following it. Well, we need to see the installation in the floor. And you know what you could do, did you have a trailer inspection yet?
Not
No.
yet, no.
So what to do is have your trailer inspection when you get your pan in and your insulation in, and we can do the installation and the trailer all at one shot.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. All righty. Who else has some questions for our inspectors?
I have a question, if I may. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hi, Juan.
Yes.
Yes.
How are you guys? I'm not I guess I'm the least expert person with the least expertise in this group, but it's very, very, very interesting to know the perspective of everybody, which is appreciated. I have just a question. I'm trying to market some tiny homes in the Catskills area. And I have some people that, for example, specific case, he has already some concrete slabs in his property, like 7 of them, and he likes the tiny homes, but he doesn't like the trailer. So he's asking me, Juan, what happens if I just take out the trailers, of the tiny homes? Does that affect the code? So honestly, I don't know what to say. My understanding is that the tiny homes are robust and maybe they're overqualified, but at the same time, I don't know if you take the trailers, they're losing part of the logic of the approvals or who knows what. So wanted to, if there's any input on this type of situation, let's say.
So, yeah, it would affect it greatly. When these units are inspected, they're, listed as tiny houses on wheels. So if that chassis is removed, it's no longer a tiny home. It would be, either a modular or stick-built home, and that would fall under the jurisdiction of whatever that township or municipality is. And, they would require you to build it to their standards, not a tiny house standard. So without that, it's pretty much, it's not going to work building it as a tiny house.
Yeah, so the other thing, one, is the word tiny house is really referencing the square footage. So it's really not necessarily that it's on wheels or not on wheels. It's referencing 400 square feet or less. Some of the municipalities, I think Florida is one, that has extended that to 500 square feet. So, but what Richard's trying to say is whether it's on wheels or not really determines what code is used to inspect the home. So, and it does change, not drastically, but considerably between the two codes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Juan. Serhi. Hello.
Yes, hi everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, so I'm actually one of the manufacturers that build in the tiny home overseas. I believe Tony did the frame inspection before online. So we actually started running the electrical starting this week, actually maybe like tomorrow. And this tiny home is built out of 10 gauge steel. So every single wire is going to be covered, in that protection layer. Does that affect somehow the inspection process?
Well, it definitely can. it really depends on what we can see and what we can't see. I think I remember us talking about this before, that it's really hard to tell you that right now without actually us taking a look at it. It's depends on how much is covered and how we can feel that. See, the most important thing is you're running the wires that we have to be sure that they're protected. So
Yes.
it's really a matter of, we'd really have to take a look at it. It's hard to really tell you over here.
Yeah, pretty much what the idea is that like we don't have insulation yet in there, so we're gonna run all of the wires in that kind of a protection layer, and then we're gonna start kind of like inspection, maybe in a couple stages. So you can inspect, you can make sure that everything is covered, everything is up to the standards, and then move on from that point.
Well, it would be more helpful if we inspected it before you started to cover it. Like, in other words, you get your wires in there, but before you start putting anything else in there, for us to be able to take a look at it and see what you have.
Like on the wires itself?
No, with the wires themselves, but when you're going to run them in the walls, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, so before you cover them up or fill the walls or whatever you're going to do, or close them in, it would be helpful for us to see them first.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're not gonna do any installation before we pass the inspection of the electrical and plumbing.
Yeah, so if we can see them, then there's no problem. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. One more question regarding like right now what we plan to do, we plan to import everything, like the wall panels, electrical panels and stuff,
Right.
breakers from United States. I'm wondering if that actually if we can substitute them to some European parts, like German or Czech. We have a lot of substitution on that, and shipping is pretty expensive. That's why.
I know it's expensive, but the problem is if it's not listed for here in the United States, we can't accept it.
So it has to be UL certified.
Yeah, or else, it has to be the UL certified. If it's electrical, it should be UL certified.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So if we can find something like that is UL certified, that it will be accepted, we just need to provide the certification that it's coming with that piece of equipment.
If it's UL certified, we actually have to accept it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if that's okay, we're building it the first time, so we have all the electrical plans. Is that okay for me to send the electrical plans? It's kind of like in a 3D version, so you can actually see where it's going and stuff like that. Maybe you can have, or somebody can have some notes and tell us, hey, before you start drilling the holes in the 10-gauge steel frame, maybe we have to run them some kind of different ways.
Yeah, anything you submit to us is going to be good. Anything that we can look at. So yeah, don't hold back on submitting anything. If it's something that we had one just recently where they submitted and it was all in a different language. So we had to send it back and have them translate it. But anything you submit to us will work. We'll look at it, and if there's questions on it, we'll let you know.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. I'll submit it today. Thank you, sir.
Great. Thanks, Sergey. Joe, we no longer require a dielectric test. So unless we are requiring on an as-built, correct? Inspection.
Right.
Team.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we don't require one. Yeah. It's optional.
So
If
you don't have
someone
to worry about that.
Yeah, we have one company, they do them automatically, send them to us.
Okay. And then Christina. Okay. You can't raise her hand. How
Yeah,
quick?
sorry.
Okay, so the turnaround time for scheduling an inspection, you might not have joined us yet, but that's going from 24 hours ahead to 12 hours. So that will help inspections flow. For the window only egress windows, need to be tempered, or all of the windows in the home? One of you guys can answer. I know the answer.
Yeah, I'll jump on that. So as far as the windows that need to be tempered, are any window in a loft, it has to be tempered. And the logic behind that is that, you know, the lofts are limited in space, and it's very easy to accidentally flail a hand or a foot through it. So hence the tempering. The other areas where tempering is required is if you have a window at a stair, a ladder, or maybe a rock wall. We don't know yet. But if you have a window there, it's gonna be required to be tempered. And then that's all that comes to mind there. As far as the plywood covering the windows on the exterior for transport, yeah, it is strongly recommended that you do that, whether it's tempered or not. It protects your windows from, you know, rocks and things like that. And these things tend to be a magnet for you know, small items on the road.
It's sill height, to address the sill height.
Go for it.
Okay. Okay, so any window that's in the house where the bottom sill is 18 inches off the floor or less, it'll have to be tempered. And it's actually 18 inches and to 36.
36.
So it has to, yeah, there's 3 rules.
And then
18
9
inches
square
or less. Right. Or 9
Yeah,
square
and then
feet.
9 square feet.
Right. So,
it would be a
99%
big
of the
window.
time, yeah, so 99% of the time, when you have a window, any window that you're going to have in there, and it is within 18 inches of the floor, you're going to wind up needing it tempered. So there is a way that you can, you know, tempered windows take a long time to get in and is more expensive. So we do accept there is an anti-shatter film that you can get that does meet code, and it's pretty inexpensive in lieu of going with a tempered window.
Yeah, as long as it has, if you look for the window film, you can find it on Amazon, eBay, Home Depot, or your local glass supplier. They probably have it too. But the item number that you want to look for is it has to have ANSI 97.1. If it doesn't have that, then it doesn't meet tempering requirements, no matter what it says.
I don't know why, but I can never remember that number. I don't know why.
It's stuck in my head.
It's stuck in mine too. I was going to answer, but yeah, well,
Uh-huh.
I was going to make sure the film is still, you guys are still accepting that.
Yeah, yeah.
It is available on Amazon, just ANSI 97.1. And then Christine is asking, what documentation do we need from your trailer manufacturer to present? Go ahead, guys. Did you understand
I can
that?
answer that if they want, Rich.
Okay.
So if it's coming from a trailer manufacturer, then we assume it's already been engineered. So all we're really going to do, we don't really need any documentation from them other than we're going to do an inspection on the trailer. So it'll have all its safety equipment, the lights and brakes and so forth. If it's a trailer that you're having fabricated, then that's different. Then we are going to need some specs on the trailer, and probably some engineering on it. But if it's coming from like a trailer made, so those are already engineered. Iron Eagle, they're all engineered. So we don't really need any documentation from them because they're going to have their name stamped on the side of it anyway.
Can I add to that? It's probably just good information and useful. I just went through the process because we manufacture trailer ourselves, and we had to go and obtain the Texas, because we're based in Texas, basically, Texas manufacturing license. This is one the requirement that we need to have in order for us to be able to distribute it, to be able to sell it through the dealership. Because the manufacturer cannot legally sell to the client, so it has to be done through the dealer. and this is one of the requirements.
You mean in the state of Texas?
Yeah, I can't sell it to any other state without having manufacturing license. But if I want to sell in Texas, I have to get the manufacturing license and sell it through the dealer, who has to get the dealer license.
Right.
Is that so they can tax you double?
I guess, or give me some hard time. But they were actually very nice. The process took, I don't know, like less than a month. With the
There's a
proper
lot of
documentation
states
and-
that are
and proofs.
actually doing that,
Mhm.
not just Texas. Lots of states are going to that. I know Colorado does the same thing.
Pennsylvania.
Our
So yeah, this
attorney,
is just,
sorry.
I'm saying it's just one thing that people who build their own trailers, they need to be aware of.
Mhm. Thanks, Sergey. Paul, did you
No
have another
problem.
question? Or is your hand still up from before?
Yes, yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
go
Is
for
there
it.
is there a minimum ceiling height in a tiny house?
Yes. 6
What
foot
is
8.
it? 6'8". That's an
Yes.
absolute?
Now, well, here's the thing. If you're just in the tiny house portion of it, not in the bathroom, not in the, it's 6'8". Under the loft, if you have a hall or a bathroom under the loft now, or kitchen under the loft, it's 6'6" if we're using the NOAA Plus, 6'4" if we're using the IRC. There is no ceiling height restriction in the lofts.
Is there a scenario where, because they're on a trailer and the transport limitation, I think, is either 13 or 13'6" in height,
Yeah.
where we build it without the roof on it, and then we add the roof at the time of delivery, and it would be removable if you had to transport it again, so that you could get a full standing room in the loft?
Well, yeah, you can do that. The thing is, though, when you say there's a restriction, the restriction only means that once you exceed the 13.6, then you have to get a special permit to move the house, which, from what I understand, is like $50 or something like that. But there's no restriction necessarily that I'm aware of how tall the house can be, because we've done some that were fairly tall, but they needed permits to move them on the road, on the highway.
So-
I haven't done it yet where they had a removable roof, but I can see that could be, possible.
Well, we've been engineering that into our design, and knowing that you have a 13'6" height, then once it's on a trailer, you can't have two floors that you can stand up in. But if we're going to get it certified through NOAA, can we get it all the way up to a certain point and get that certified? And then once it's delivered with the roof on it, you guys do the final certification?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no problem with that. Actually, I just did one a couple of weeks ago where this is the only one that I've seen so far, where the second floor actually goes down on the outside. The whole house, the whole second floor and roof goes down over the first floor. And then when it gets out to wherever it's going to go, it raises back up again.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no problem with that, because NOAA has no height restrictions, and the only other height restriction would be, some city having a height restriction on how high buildings can be. But other than that, yeah.
Is there a scenario where because of the city height restrictions, I'm in Southern California, and they're 13 feet, and for like a shed, and that's a whole nother subject matter, but is there a scenario where it's built on a trailer frame, and once it's at location, you can take the wheels off and lower it so it meets that 13 foot?
I'm gonna say no. But go ahead,
might-
Tony.
Yeah, I think you might run into a little bit of problem with that. Although I know I did one in California about a year ago where he removed the wheels but left the axles in place. And he had said to me that as long as he left the axles there, he was okay. So I guess maybe it might even depend on where you are.
Yeah,
So-
I think I remember that, Tony. I think it was the jurisdiction required it as part of their, ADU
Yeah.
requirements. But yeah, I do remember that.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So,
Yeah, I think though it's probably best if you check with the local jurisdiction to what they would require. Because once the axles are taken off, they may look at it completely different. It's no longer a home on wheels.
well, I
So-
think we could leave, if you get a drop axle, then you can get it pretty low to the ground and leave the axles on. So that would be a reasonable possibility. So well, I wouldn't remove the axles off of the trailer frame, but just I want to get it as low to the ground as possible. So
You let the air out of the tires.
Well, guys, it's 8 o'clock and we the NOAA team is about to turn into pumpkins, so we really we usually let this go 7 to 8, but these inspectors have worked all day and gotten on here to help us answer these questions, which we greatly appreciate. And the house Tony's talking about, the one that raises up to have a second floor, that's Travis Duckworth, and he's actually our guest in May. So watch for your emails for Tiny Talks in May, and he's going to do a demonstration for us and talk about his business. Next month, I'm going to have Precision Temp, the sales rep. I'm trying something different. I'm going to have a vendor night. So I'm going to have a young lady, Kay Anderson with Precision Temp. They do the waterless heaters, either propane. They do propane and propane. And so she's going to have her salesman. They're going to do a demonstration, and also whoever is not a member, look for a special spring promo that is starting April 1st. I won't let the entire cat out of the bag, but watch for a special promo coming soon. That will be from April 1st through the end of April. Spring promo to help y'all out that want to join. Any other questions?
I have a last one. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay.
What?
Joe
Did you have
had
another
one in the
question?
chat.
I answered him in the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Wasn't sure if we would get a time.
Okay. Who had the question?
That's me, Sergey. One last question. You said a vendor night. I'm curious how to actually become a vendor, because I'm actually a window manufacturer. We fabricate windows and doors and different kind of aluminum systems that we're using for our tiny homes. I would like to become a vendor or listed somehow as a vendor.
Well, so do you have a business doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you could email me your information. Or do you have my email?
I don't think I do, but if you can send it in chat, I'll save it.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking of having it, that's a popular item in tiny houses. So have just been thinking ahead. I have my tiny talks planned out now through August. So I was thinking a vendor night would be good. I'm also trying to get in touch with Gold Heat. They do the heated flooring. I guess they might not be interested. They didn't reply to me.
Yeah, we do have showroom here in Austin, Texas, and I mean, I can definitely demonstrate some stuff.
Okay, so there's my email. It's LEANNE at, oh, I think that went to Joe.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kidding.
Somebody's turning into a pumpkin,
It's past
I'm
my
sorry for taking
bedtime.
long.
right?
All right.
There it is.
There, it's
Got
in the
it.
chat now,
Chat.
Leanne.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome. All right. Andrew,
Yeah,
you
just
got one more?
quick question. So before I guess we do our trailer, or because our space is limited in height, so to do that, I guess the build is it. Can we still do our trailer inspection and still like remove the axles to be able to drop the height of the structure as we're building, and then once we complete the building, when we roll it out of our shop to put the axles back on, is that something that we're allowed to do, or?
Oh, no, we could do that. We definitely
Yeah.
can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
Not a problem.
Christina, a question, or not a question for you. I just want to let you know, I can't figure out how to raise my hand either. So
Oh, you guys.
He's better
right,
at inspections, I promise.
Oh, we do have one incinerating toilet manufacturer on our, if you go to our website under info and then click on resources, I think it's Nature's,
Nature's
what is it?
head.
Nature's Head,
I think it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
something like that.
reaction.
And those are just resources. Those are not, we don't,
Mhm.
yeah. So, all right. Well, with that, I think, Sergey, you did not have another question, right? You just
Thank
didn't
you.
lower your hand. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining
No,
us.
I did not.
We will-
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Our next, it's the third Tuesday. I think it's April. Sorry, I was supposed to have that in my head. Third Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. April 16th. Day after tax day.
Mhm.
All right, y'all have a great evening. Thank you so
Everybody
much.
have
for-
a fantastic evening.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.